Hi, I'm Kelly.
And I'm Kristen. Welcome to our new YouTube channel, Twins with Wheels.
When we were younger, traveling with disabilities was not as mainstream as it is today.
We're going to talk about some of the challenges that we faced when we were traveling as well.
And we can tell you that just getting there was sometimes more than half the battle. So the first vacation that we're going to talk about is the cruise that never happened.
How old were we?
We were, I think, in elementary school.
Yeah.
So maybe third grade.
Yep.
And our parents surprised us with a 3-day cruise that we were going to go on. I don't even remember where we were going.
I think it was Nova Scotia.
Okay. Well, it doesn't matter because we never got there. Because we got on the boat, which was a little tricky from what I can remember.
Yeah.
But then we went to our first room and we couldn't get through the door.
Now remember, this is when we were like 7 or 8, so we had really small wheelchairs.
Yes.
We were small. We were children. And we still couldn't get through the door.
Couldn't get through the door. So then they took us to a second room, which we also could not get into.
I'm not sure why they thought we could.
I don't know. And it wasn't accessible inside anyway. So then they took us to a third room.
Now, meantime, my father is tipping all of these bellmen to bring the luggage from room to room to room.
We really should have just left them somewhere, but we didn't. So third room, a no-go. So then they were so nice and offered that we could stay in the infirmary on the boat, which was, first of all, in the bowels of the ship. And the infirmary was just not a place we wanted to spend 3 days. So we got off the boat.
I think it's a ship.
We got off the ship. And we ended up staying at a hotel in our area that we stayed for the weekend because my parents felt so bad because we were all packed and ready to go away and couldn't go. So Kristen and I were just as happy staying at the hotel, swimming in the pool. So that was our first cruise that we never did go on. We have since been on some cruises and we love them. So that was first trip.
Yeah.
The next
Was
was a big one.
I can't see it because
It's Hawaii.
oh, okay. So our next trip, we went to Hawaii. My parents took us there. They were going there for business, and they took us along with them.
We were so excited.
And we were sophomores in high school at that point, so we had a few pretty good years that we didn't have too much terrible things happen. But this started early, even before we got on the trip.
Yep.
Because my mom got into a car accident.
So we were in the van and I was in my chair and I didn't have my seatbelt on. And she stopped short and I flew out of my chair. I hit my face on the radio and my knee slammed on the ground of the van. And I broke my knee. And my husband laughs every time I tell this story because he thinks it's hysterical.
So she was in a cast from hip to ankle, basically.
Yeah.
Big old cast. So we leave that day.
We're still going. We
Yeah.
are still going to go.
We leave that day. You didn't do too bad on the airplane.
I mean, my leg was out in the aisle. And
Yeah, but other than that,
yeah,
you
it
were
wasn't good.
Unfortunately, when we got to the airport in Honolulu, our transportation that my parents had worked to get us to the hotel that had a wheelchair lift with it didn't show up.
Nothing. Gone.
So I think we even called. Our parents called several times. We couldn't get in touch with anyone. So then the hotel.
Because it was late at night by the time we got in, too.
Well, yeah, and it was also like the morning for us now.
Yes. We're going on 24 hours.
So they decided the hotel said, we'll send a van over to you. Unfortunately, though, it was a van. It didn't have any wheelchair accessibility. So we ended up finally, my father was done with the whole thing, and he said, we're just going to, pick us up and put us in the car. He had to sign a waiver so that the driver, if anything happened to him, wouldn't sue us, which we did. And we did manage to get there.
They did.
I think about 3 hours after we landed, but we got there. And then the rest of the trip was fine.
We had a great time. And the accessibility was great. The room was great. They upgraded us to a better room, which is what they were telling us on the phone when they said, you really need to get here. And also, once we were there, transportation was great. There was taxis, even then, and we're talking now, how long ago? 30 years at least.
1987? Yeah, 1987 or
Yep.
88.
And they had accessible taxis. And
Notice how we say that's so far away now?
it is far. It's a long time ago. And we had great transportation, so it worked out very well. But that first day was rough. We literally went 24 hours before we finally got to our room and were able to lie down and sleep.
So that was our Hawaii trip.
Then this is going, now we've had other trips in the middle of some of these trips that we've just forgotten, I'm sure. But one of the highlight trips we can talk about is when we went to Disney.
No, when we went to Hilton Head the first time.
Oh, right. Hilton Head. We were in high school.
So when we were in high school, we went to Hilton Head. We went with our parents, my aunt and uncle, and 2 of my cousins. So we all packed into a large raised roofed van that my parents had just bought. We were waiting to get it equipped so that she and I could drive, but we hadn't done that yet. We didn't even have a lift or anything on it. We were using ramps to get in and out. So we were using the ramps to get in and out. We had 8 people in the car and luggage for 8 people for a week. So we start, driving. We're all
Well, wait. So there was so much luggage.
Oh yeah, we got a roof rack.
We had a great roof rack on the top for luggage. So we put the luggage up there. Most of it, yeah, not all of it, but some. Up on the top and, tied it down and off we go. We are driving to Hilton Head, South Carolina.
Yeah, 18-hour trip about.
Mhm.
So I don't know where we were, what highway we were on. Maybe New Jersey. I'm not sure. But as we were going along, my cousin at the time, who was I think like 12, told
younger, I think.
Told my aunt that something just fell off the car. And my aunt actually got mad at him because she's like, "Don't do that. You're gonna get everybody nervous." And he's like, "No, it did." And sure enough, we look back and we can see our luggage flying off the car.
So we look back, and sure enough,
he was right.
Yep, there was luggage
fell into the highway. So we finally, and by the time my cousin convinced us that this did happen and got all the way back to the front of the car with my father driving, I think we were probably a mile away at that point.
Well, not quite, but yeah,
so
we had driven with it.
Finally pulled over, and my uncle and my other cousin, who was 16, went down the highway to pick up all of the clothes that had fallen out of the suitcases that got hit by probably a couple of 18-wheelers at least.
Yeah. And yeah, his was the only bag that actually fell off. Thankfully, I was very concerned about mine. So we secured the luggage back up there, reworked everything. We think, okay, we got this now. We're good. And we start driving again. And we have people driving past us pointing to the roof rack. And we're like, what's going on? And they're pointing. I'm like, oh my God, we lost more luggage. So we pulled over again. The whole roof rack is falling off of the car.
Yeah, basically shaking.
So it's moving back and forth.
Almost lost everything.
Yeah, the whole thing could have fallen off. So now we can't use it because we don't trust it. So all the luggage now has to fit in the van
with the 8
of us. So we literally, in this, this time of day, the seatbelt and all that wasn't as big of a thing. We have, my cousin is lying across bags, and Kristen and I are squished in there. Everybody is holding something, and for 18 hours, we have to drive this way. Because we had no other way we couldn't get rid of stuff, and everything still had to come with us. So 18 hours of us smooshed into this van with 8 people and 8 people's luggage.
But we had a good time once we got there too.
We had a great time. And once we bought my cousin clothes because he had lost everything.
I think basically getting to our trips is what really is the problem. Once we get there, we're usually okay.
You know, you're right. I think that's kind of a theme for us
Yep.
as we start talking about these.
Yeah. So, in wrapping up this episode, it's important to know things have changed as
Yes.
far as accessibility and travel.
Yet they haven't.
Yeah, but some things always still stay the same. So always remember, if you do have a disability and you are going away, you just need to call everybody. You need to call the airlines, you need to call the hotels, you need to call any excursions you're doing.
And transportation.
Because even when you double and triple check, you still might have a problem, but at least you got a chance of not having as many mishaps as we have.
Yes.
We hope you like this video. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below for us. And don't forget,
Like, share, and subscribe. Twins with Wheels.
don't forget,